attorney is not here. PDA director Charles Bennett.
Here.
Wage Trim professional planner Caitlin Haven.
Here.
Superior Development Corporation executive director Sam Moore.
Here.
Thank you.
Great. Do a motion for the approval of the agenda. I'm sorry, do we have any additions?
I move we approve the agenda.
Second? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. Next is approval of consent agenda items. Any questions for Craig?
I move we approve all the consent agenda items, including the payment of $629,225.82.
Order.
Great. Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
DeLuca.
Yes.
Stippian.
Yes.
Ramirez.
Yes.
Candace.
Yes.
Blount.
Yes.
Yaki.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, on your agenda, you'll see the next thing that's on here is citizens from the floor. I want to tell you this, excuse me, that if you are here about the public meeting in regard to the Neighborhood Improvement Authority, we're going to deal with all of that a little bit further down, just a couple of things further down on the agenda. So if you have anything else that you would like to tell us other than about that, please feel free to step up. We'll ask you for your name and address. For both this as well as for the public hearing, we have a timer here, so we're gonna allow everybody 3 minutes to speak. If you're finishing up your thought, I'll be happy to let you finish up your thought, but we want to give everyone the opportunity to speak. So those will be 3 minutes. We would ask you to maintain civility. You gotta be polite, please. Address your comments and things to me. And with that, is there anyone who would like to speak in regard to the first public comment? Okay, seeing none. All right, so then we're gonna move on. So, do you have a guest speaker? Okay. We have a department head. I'd like to introduce everyone to Charles Bennett, who is our new DDA director, and so take it away.
Well, hello. I think I met quite a few of you the last time I was here, but if I haven't, thank you for the introduction, Byron. My report's a little short. This is my 4th day, so. Well, we do have a couple things. So, firstly, this Thursday at 2 p.m., the DDA is hosting a ribbon cutting for Faith Emporium grand opening downtown. So we'd love to have anybody who want to come out. Talked to Jerry a couple times. It sounds like we should have everything lined up, ready to go. Craneville Market, is coming up. That's gonna be one of my first things working on planning. Right now, walking through the old DPW community center, I think is something that's gonna be used for. So hopefully we can fit about 29 vendors in that building comfortably, and trying to get some backup plans for, heat or bathrooms just in case we don't get there. But the building itself is insulated and open, so it should be usable for that. Do you have any questions for me?
Welcome forward.
But,
Welcome forward.
well, thank you.
We're very, very happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Great. Okay. So at this point, we will go to the public hearing. So that is to establish a neighborhood improvement authority. And so first of all, I need a motion in regard to notices and publications.
I'll make a motion for the notice of publication.
Okay, is there a second?
Support.
All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, so we're gonna open the public hearing at 7:04. And what we're gonna do is start with our planner, who is Caitlin Haven. And so she is going to explain what we're all talking about with the NIA.
Yes, thank you. So with the Neighborhood Improvement Authority, that's the NIA, what's happening tonight is it's the first reading to create a NIA. We do not currently have an NIA in the city. I do have some notes or some visual aids on the screen behind you, so if you do want to follow along, happy to have you along with us. Essentially what this area is, and there is a map over to the left, also showing the proposed NIA district.
Yes.
Simplistically put, the NIA for the same properties. And so that is the proposed district, is it's everything besides what's already in our downtown improvement authority. Essentially, this, proposed tool in our toolboxes of jurisdiction came up during the master plan process. We looked at a lot of our different, characteristics of our citizenry. We have a lot of people that don't have a lot of spare income. We have a lot of improvements that need to take place, either public works or investment. We talked about wanting to have an Aldi. How do we get the Aldi? We kept talking with focus groups and other individuals, and they said you need more people. And so we talked about housing and things of that nature, and one of the things that kept coming back was that we need economic investment, but we also care about investing in our neighborhoods and our community. And so near the end of that process, we're talking about implementing our master plan. How do we meet these goals and objectives? One of the tools that was mentioned is the Neighborhood Improvement Authority. And so that's a little bit of the roadmap of where we are today. The city does regularly develop a capital improvement plan, and so we've done that the last several years. We anticipate that over the next 5 to 7 years, about 15 million of infrastructure needs to be funded for repair to maintain our quality of life. And so with that gap funding, and Neighborhood Improvement Authority is one way to have another tool for getting funding to do that. The intention is to boost property values, to have an increase in quality of life. It aligns with our visions of our master plan, and is proven successful. So as you may have heard, the Port Huron, forget the community, city of Croswell, thank you. Croswell has one of these established districts. The village of Peck is already starting to go through their notice process to establish a new district up there. From the point, we did hold a series of public hearings and notices in April 9th. So per state statute, it does require that we contact all taxing jurisdictions. We have to post a flyer at least 20 different places within the proposed NIA. We did that public hearing on April 9th. We have to publish in the paper twice. We send notices to everyone as far as putting in their utility billing and things of that nature. So we're trying to get the word out there, and I really do appreciate everyone taking the time to read it and look at what their concerns are. Some members have communicated to city staff regarding questions or concerns, and that's what spurred the fact sheet that went out to try to address some of those questions for this upcoming meeting. We do acknowledge there was a slight error when that was being uploaded. The link was broken. When it was brought to our attention, we went and fixed that. So that was something that once it was brought to our attention, we did try to fix it. We are trying to listen through the public and say, well, what are the questions out there, and try to make sure we have consistent answers. And so one of the points that is really common with TIF districting is how does it work? So it does function very similarly to a downtown development authority. So it is its own board. And we don't have one yet. We do not have a board as of now that is an NIA board because we haven't created the district. That would be something that comes later. As soon as it is adopted, that's something that staff would have ready then as far as an application, and you could submit your application to then be nominated to then be on that board. So that's the process then to establish that. And so with TIF districts, what happens is in blue in the graphic behind you is the base value based on the taxation. And so the year number is different. So our TIF plan is 30 years. Some vary, but we're doing the 30 years our proposal. And so as the property values increase over time, it is keeping our taxing jurisdictions that would normally collect it, because millages are percentage proportional. So as things go up, you do pay more, but that's because your value went up. And so what it does is it freezes those taxing jurisdictions, and that remainder at the difference is what is then funneled into the Neighborhood Improvement Authority. So the millage, the percentage rate does not change. It essentially is resiphoning so that we can reinvest it locally as opposed to going to other taxing jurisdictions. Once our year of that timer is done, that is when it then gets reset and those other taxing jurisdictions get their components back. So based on some of the different public comments, because they did read that plan, we do anticipate making a few minor adjustments to that. So the first one is the membership of the NIA. That was something that people were just kind of generally discussed, to put on that. There is some statutory, the city manager does serve on those in some capacities. And so, but we don't know who those individual members are yet. They have not gone through that process, and so we do propose to remove that. So that process can take place once the plan is adopted. The next one is, I acknowledge that this page, as far as farther in the plan, the tax increment financing page, that could have been written and displayed better, so I apologize for the confusion it caused with that. But the intention is that the collection rate would be from the county. It would not include the city roads, it would not include the school district, and so it's listed out there. And so what I tried to do better is more articulate that the NIA authority will not collect any special voted millages. In its entire existence, we will not collect those. And then I list those examples. With that potential capture, so that is, because the rate changed, that's where those numbers are changed. And so then the other two tables that might have changed was table 2, table 3, based on those potential millage rates. I did notice a table error, and so that was also corrected in table 3. But these documents, as far as projections, it is an educated guess. It's required by state statute that you articulate with those taxing jurisdictions what they would potentially not gain by doing that, and instead having that reinvested locally. Looking at the fact sheet and some of the different components of that, I know one point of confusion was, is the NIA going to be similar to a homeowners association? And the answer is no, because the Neighborhood Improvement Authority functions like a DDA. They can talk about approval of a facade loan program for businesses there, or a loan program for homeowners to improve their home, but they actually don't control the purse strings. The city commission does. And so they function just like a DDA does, where you have, these are the different projects we'd like to do, the city commission still authorizes those budgets. And so that's something that still is gatekept by the elected officials, and they don't make policy. So that's the other big note. They're not the planning commission that has a hand in the zoning ordinance creation. That's the planning commission. Yeah, it literally is, this is our district, and we are allocating funds and reviewing applications to allocate those funds. And so that's really the intention. They do not make policy. They cannot say everyone shall paint their house, whatever. That is not within remotely their authority to do. There's other regulation that's associated with that. One of the other key components of the fact sheet that was mentioned was, does the plan have, why does it specifically list those electrical utility carve-outs and things? So at the very end of the plan, there's a bunch of listed of potential projects. The reason you do that is because you want to say these are things that we're interested in which we may or may not exercise at some point during the life of the plan. Because it has to be in there for us then to be able to do it. But ultimately, NIA and the city commission will decide which projects go forward. And so part of it is we're putting in there so then it's a mechanism, it's a potential tool we can use, and which, if we choose it's appropriate to provide that local utility provider, that's something we could potentially do. And that's why they're worded somewhat vaguely to do a sidewalk improvement projects and things of that nature. That's kind of what we're looking to do. And so as far as looking at tonight's meeting, this is the first reading. We're not looking to vote on approval or denial. It's mainly to make sure everyone is aware again that this is something that we're interested in creating. And then if there's any information that we can provide for your second reading, that's what I would like to know, so we can provide that and we can make sure we make an educated decision.
And Caitlin, as I understand, you're gonna be making notes?
Yep,
And-
so during public comment, I'll be writing down different various notes. We can probably try to address some of those during 6 as the commissioners. Public comment is now a question and answer, but I'll be writing down some different questions and we can see the best way to address those concerns.
Okay. Anything else, Caitlin?
I guess the only thing would be handed over to Sam.
Right.
For the Brookfield Development Corporation.
I had a big long speech I was gonna read, but I'm just gonna wait. So, my name is Sam Moore, I'm the executive director for the Brookfield Development Corporation. We're a 501c3. Our main focus is, investment and prosperity, in Brookfield County, obviously in the city, in those communities. Historically, our organization has always advocated for, TIFs or tax increment finance authorities. We work across the county with industrial TIFs, downtown development authority TIFs, and then hopefully maybe a neighborhood improvement authority. They're basically a mechanism to help facilitate investment growth, and have a really simplistic way of defining how that growth will be paid for, how improvements to existing infrastructure can be paid for, essentially using the locally captured tax increment. I look at this maybe slightly differently than maybe the average economic development person. I live in a neighborhood improvement authority. I was fortunate enough to help form one back in roughly 2017. Our community uses it mainly for hard infrastructure, sidewalks, public safety, health issues. But the cool thing about being in a really small area is you don't have to take my word for it. There's somebody in the audience here, and hopefully she'll speak later. Amy, which is a former city manager here, is currently the city manager, the city administrator in Croswell, which oversees Neighborhood Improvement Authority. So she can give you firsthand experience of exactly what a city uses those funds for and how it helps to benefit the community and offset long-term infrastructure costs. So that's basically what I do appreciate you allowing me to speak.
Okay. I know that you'd like to speak, I just do. If Amy wishes to speak at some point, she may. But at this point, I know that you have some things you want to say as well. I would like to start taking some comments from anyone of the residents or anyone else who would like to speak. If you've got questions, if you've got concerns, we are here to absolutely listen to you. That's why we're here. Anyone would like to?
Do we just go up there?
Yes. So your name and your address, please.
Okay, up there?
Sure.
Okay. My name's Jamie Johnson, I live at 475 West First Street in Imlay City. This is the first one of these that I've been to, so I haven't really seen anybody do this, so forgive me if it's a little weird. So I was just going to ask if this is already just going to use the taxes based on the system that we already have. What have those things been allocated to in the past? Why do we need a new organization to use those things? Does that make sense?
I understand the question. I just want to let you know, this is actually, at this point, we're not really doing question and answer. So we're listening whatever people has to say, and Caitlin is gonna have the opportunity.
Okay.
So she's taking notes.
So that is a concern of mine, then I'll put it that way, is it just that there is nothing written for you guys to be able to use it in a good way in the Constitution, and why is that not just in a proposed amendment? Or is it something additional? I don't really understand the concept, and it would be nice to have it in layman's terms without the economics and the kind of vague word choice. That would be very helpful to the public. And then also, I know that it will not increase taxes and they can't form policy and all of that. But then what would it do?
Yes.
I guess. Like, what would the people who are in this authority, if we establish it, able to do? Is it just to take what we have and sort it into categories and implement those things? Or is there any other power that they would have? And that's about all I'm confused about.
I'm gonna interrupt. She didn't want me to speak. I was against this to start. And what we're doing now was, made a mistake the way we presented it. And we're doing it again. The second time. Here's what it does simply. We haven't increased the taxes. There are several things, all the county tax goes to the county now. Some of that county tax, which ones aren't they, that we're not gonna give anymore?
I'm sorry?
Which taxes are we gonna not pay to the county anymore?
So the county millage percentage is gonna freeze at 3.597.
And next, all the rest of the money stays with us in town now. So what we're doing is the county is going to get less. They're gonna get the police, the fire, and not the police, because we have our own. The fire and the emergency, the veterans and whatever, few of the rest of it stays with us now. And we're gonna keep it to be used within the communities, not downtown, not under the DDA. That's as simple as it is, and we didn't explain it properly before, and we're not gonna do it now if we're not careful. That's as simple as I can put it out. The details will be here and there. And it has given, how much money roughly does the Pierce City have it?
Lapeer captured, what, $600,000 or $700,000?
A year.
With a different taxing.
It's a different taxes, but we're a small town, but that's what we're trying to get our share of. It's not gonna go to the county, it's gonna stay here. We'll do streets and things we have to do. That's as simple as you can put it, and it wasn't put properly, and it's our fault that we didn't do that.
All right.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to come up?
I'll go.
Some of my plans have been touched on by Caitlin. However, I wrote my plan this afternoon before the youth plan was uploaded sometime after 2 o'clock. Good evening, my name is Mindy Stephens. I live at 180 Walker Street. I love the city, I work here, I'm raising my boys here, and I pour myself into this community. That's exactly why this proposal deserves full sunlight, not a quiet fast track. The state created neighborhood improvement authorities for blighted residential neighborhoods to repair homes, sidewalks, lighting, and basic safety. This plan does not do that. It covers almost the entire city, including 314 acres of active farmland, roughly a quarter of the footprint. Farmland is not polite, and a citywide tax capture is not a neighborhood plan. We've heard that the senior, veterans, ambulance, and library villages are excluded. This sounds comforting until you see what is captured and diverted for 30 years. $64 million from the city operating budget, $13 million from the county operating budget, $1.2 million from the medical care facility, $10 million from the ISD, $22 million from the state education tax. These are not core services. This is not extra money. It is 30 years of redirected tax growth to a new authority. And here's what most residents haven't been clearly told. Once those dollars are captured, they no longer come through this commission. They go to a board that the public does not elect, cannot remove, and did not choose to manage tax dollars. Just to be perfectly clear, this board will not be chosen by us voters. I didn't vote for them, my neighbors didn't vote for them, but they would control future tax growth through at least 2055. This isn't a community improvement guided by transparency. This is an unaccountable shift of power away from voters without consent. And since the funding depends on rising property values, another plain language point. This plan works by capturing increases in property values, and property values are set by a city hired assessor. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but when government financially benefits from rising assessments, there must be independent oversight of how those values are set. If this moves forward at all, that safeguard must be written in, period. Now the utility language. This plan allocates $300,000 to form and legally defend a municipal electric utility. Escanaba, a city 6 times our size, spent millions in the courtroom pursuing that, and was warned that it would cost $10 million more for actual acquisition. They ended up walking away, wasting millions of tax dollars. And just to be clear, neighborhood improvement authorities were not designed as a backdoor path to municipal utility takeovers. That goes far beyond the intent of Public Act 57. Now the part with the biggest long-term impact. Up to $120 million in bonding authority. This authority can borrow, like a mortgage, up to $120 million paid back with future tax growth. Major public borrowing traditionally includes voter approval. This structure bypasses that. And residents keep hearing a 30-year plan, but the language says the authority cannot end until debt is paid. Meaning, issue a bond near the end.
Mindy,
Let her
please
finish.
wrap it up.
Let her finish.
Let her finish.
Let her
Let her
finish. Zip it.
Finish your thought, but I'm just saying.
No, we wanna hear what she
Zip it,
has
we
to
want-
say.
Yeah, she has a good point for everybody.
You can have my time.
And mine.
And mine.
And all of ours.
Zip it, let her finish.
You cannot do that.
If we leave.
Okay.
Although a specific time will not be strictly enforced, a 3-minute time limit is recommended.
Yeah, but
Okay,
you're saying
as I-
something they don't want us to hear, so they're gonna enforce it now.
As I said, we do 3 minutes. If you've got a thought you want to finish, that's great. But, no, that is, we've had this timer for a long time. If you've got
No,
a
you
thought-
haven't, you started it on me,
Yeah.
less than a year ago.
Okay,
It says it's not going to be strictly enforced. Can I finish?
go ahead and finish your thought,
Thank
but
you.
no, if you're gonna go on for another, extended time, no.
Meaning
Another
the
3 minutes?
issue a bond near the end, the tax capture keeps going beyond 2056 automatically. One bond in year 29 could push us into the 2060s. Another bond could extend it
Okay,
again.
that's just not finishing your thought. So, your
It
time-
is finishing my
No,
thought.
no.
She's got a lot of
Finishing a
thoughts.
point.
Please, your time is up. If someone else would like to come up, that's great.
Would someone else like to read the rest of it?
Yes.
Excellent. Stay up there with them.
My name is Larissa Regan, I live at 155 Bancroft Street, in Washington. One bond in year 29 could push this into the 2060s, another bond after that could extend it again. Without a hard sunset clause, this is not a 30-year plan, it is a 30-year minimum with the power to become a generational tax siphon without another public vote. If there's no intent to use that authority, put it in writing. If there is intent, it belongs on a ballot. That's okay. And timing matters.
It's true.
The city posted its first public frequently asked questions on this plan today, just hours before this meeting. I myself struggled to find answers for the questions that I had, but this is not community engagement, this is damage control. One more thing residents need to hear. Before the public ever saw this, a county commissioner discussed supporting the plan at a public meeting. If certain villages, including seniors and veterans, were released from the DDA tax capture. So I'll ask, when a county official advocates for a city plan that reduces county revenue, whose hat are they wearing? The county's or the city's, or someone else's entirely? Those loyalties are not interchangeable, so here's a reasonable path forward. Pause this plan tonight. Conduct an independent fiscal analysis. Obtain a legal opinion from Treasury or the Attorney General, or whether using an NIA for a municipal utility is even allowed under PA 57. Publish board qualifications of conflict of interest rules. Conduct real engagement before approving a 30-year tax capture. If this plan is good for residents, it will survive scrutiny. If it only works before people understand it, it should not move forward. Emily City deserves ambition, but ambition is not secrecy, and it is not just trust us. Slow down, show the map, show the law, earn trust first. I'm asking you to vote no.
Anyone else?
Vote no.
Yeah, I do too.
Dennis Egg, 6700 Laramie. My biggest concern that started this whole thing is the non-transparency of how you guys go about it. I'm really concerned with how much work's been put into this, and nobody seems to know who, or if you could tell us, who's involved in it to this point. I've spent a week looking at a list of people that clearly I know, in my opinion, are highly connected in this town. And the shift in movement I've watched in the last year and a half, because we have a commission board now that you don't hold a majority on. The shifting I've seen in people, where they went, this is nothing but a gigantic red flag and alarming, because what's gonna, in my opinion, I'm gonna give you another opinion, because I can. In my opinion, this commission board is gonna have stuff thrown at them left and right, and when you don't obey this handful of people, you're gonna get thrown on the bus by that newspaper. So are you guys ready for that? Are you gonna make a stand and tell these people, this has to stop?
Yes.
49 years, I've watched it for 20 with wide open eyes. They need stuff to happen right now. And you are the people that we have to depend on in this moment to stop this. This NIA should be illegal. It should not be talked about, just like the senior citizens getting kicked out of their place. Nobody says who come up with the idea, can we talk about it? No. Citizens are never allowed to talk about it, are we? Those days are done. We're gonna keep watching you like a fine-tooth comb, okay? So you guys know, we're not going away. I don't care what you bring at me, we're not going away.
Anyone else?
I'll stand up. Henry Bonfigo, 205 North Main Street.
He does.
Oh, it's a recent.
One is short. It might be a
Pain.
little later.
You know, that's my concern too, extra government muddies the water. I don't want extra government. That's what you feel like what we're doing here. We don't, nobody here wants it. It's not popular with Emily City, so listen to the people of this town. We don't want it. We don't want it. So get rid of it. And that's what we're telling you here tonight. We don't want it.
None of us do.
None of us here.
Nobody in Inwood.
And if, put it for a vote, put it in front of the people, see what the rest of the community has to say. You might say this is a hand group of people, I'm trying to tell you this right now, nobody wants it, and don't force it down our throat. We don't need, California, we don't need to turn into a little town, we don't need to be controlled, we don't need to go into, you'll own nothing and be happy. We don't want that. Listen to what we have to say. Mayor, you get voted in. That's a good way to get voted out. And everybody else, because.
They're all voting.
Exactly, they're all voted in. We will vote you out. If you put this in place and you create this monster, as we see it, you guys will be voted out. Simple as that. Because you did not represent the people.
Amen.
You worked for the people who voted you in. And we don't want it. Simple as that. And everybody else would agree with me. That's all I have to say. We don't want it.
Anyone else?
I just want to ditto what he said. None of us want this. And as the people who are supposed to represent us, you shouldn't have it happen either.
Come on up. Your name and your address, please.
I'm Joyce Turner, at 480 Elmont Avenue, South Elmont Avenue. And just like he said, we don't want this. None of us want it. We didn't even know it was happening. What is this? And then these people don't have to listen to the people? No. Please, please, put this down. We don't want it. Nothing to do with it. And I don't need 3 minutes to say that. Yeah, just like the Emily City Police, they didn't want.
Yeah,
I live at 175 Bangkok. We live just around the corner. One of my biggest concerns is you want more revenue with the tax increases, with property tax increases. As a homeowner, this doesn't help me. Tax increases on our homes may be better for tax revenue in the district, but the people who own the homes, the people trying to sell their homes to people who can afford our homes instead of bigger companies looking out to rent homes for a profit. This is not a good thing for us. This is not a good thing for your lower income families looking to buy homes, you no longer can afford it because you skyrocketed the tax property values.
Yep.
That's what I want to talk about.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Christopher Melcher, 220 Wheeler Road. You know, we talked about infrastructure, fixing sidewalks and everything. You know, this is what our tax money's supposed to go to in the first place. Why are we getting tax increases to do this work? It doesn't make any sense. You know, since I've lived here for the last decade, I've seen minimal work done in this community. You know, a couple things here and there, but not a lot of work has been done in this place. I'm not really sure where a lot of our tax money's going, but, I understand, you know, prices are increasing, infrastructure costs more money. Eventually taxes always have to go up, but it's just a weird scenario that we're going through here. And I feel like the taxes we already have should be implemented already.
Amen.
That's all I gotta say.
Anyone else?
Marshall Cross, 6697 Beerman. I'm in the township, but I work in the city. And, you know, I've been coming to these because I really love this community. You know, I serve in the township a little bit and stuff. And I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but the way that I've been watching this, and I've been quiet and just listening and reading and studying this, whatever you guys are coming up with now is gonna be shot down because there's a broken relationship here. And I don't wanna get into it all, but I think something gotta change with that. You know, the thing with the senior centers, the farm, where they sell vegetables.
Farmers market.
Farmers market,
Yeah.
shut down like that, it caused a big stink. Seems like there's a battle going on between the citizens and the board. You know, I'm not picking sides, I'm not pointing no fingers, I'm just saying that there's some brokenness in the city. And it's a really beautiful city. You know, I came from the other side of town, and I love it here. You know, I have like kids here now, both my sons live here, I got 2 grandkids that live here, they're over all the time. We got nice churches, stores, I mean, it's very, you know, I just think we need to look at this thing from a different angle, because we're not getting along. Whatever comes up with this meeting is gonna get shot down, I don't think it even matters anymore what the topic is. I'm not a politician, I know it's good or bad or anything like that, you know, I know we all work hard for our money, we're not trying to just give it away. So, that's all I got, you know, I'm not bitching, I'm just saying, it's a really good city, I hate seeing this confrontation all the time, that's it.
Anyone else? No one? Okay. So, is this the point where you're gonna answer some questions, or is that for you?
So then, you would close the public comment, and then number 6, just looking for action by the city commission, and that's when you'd like to
Okay,
circle back to some of those different public comments and
sure.
you can answer those.
Okay, so at this point, I would close the public hearing at 7:39. And at this point, going back to Kidwin to answer some questions.
So one of the, I'll try to, I'm a technical person, so I apologize in advance. I have long-winded answers too. And so, this taxing jurisdiction, as I mentioned, what it does is it reallocates funding. And so what it does is, the county is kept at one rate, as well as the city general component. And so that funding is then relocated into then the NIA kind of pocket. And so we are anticipated, grab that table, for anticipated capture from the county, and I guess the first year would be $54,560. So that's additional revenue that would otherwise go to the county that we get to keep locally and reinvest locally, as opposed to going to the county. And so that's how an NIA works. You currently do that with downtown.
Folks,
I can't hear.
hey, we need to just have one conversation at a time, please, go ahead.
And so this is how DDAs work. So a lot of our different jurisdictions have those. That's how brownfield redevelopment projects work. Typically, from year to year, you do not see a major property value change. Where you see the biggest win is actually when you take agricultural land and then you improve it to be something more. So that can be residential development, it can be commercial development, but that's when you see the biggest increases in your return in value is when you see that change in use tax rate, not just year-to-year transfer as part of that. There was some different questions associated with bonding or kind of procedural components associated with it. So what the NIA would really focus on, just like the DDA does, is we focus on prioritizing programming. So the DDA says we would like to host these events. They say that we would like to do these DDA facade loan improvements. We would like to allocate funding for X, Y, Z. And so they administer that portion, but ultimately, the city commission, as part of your budgeting, you still authorize what amount is allowed to be spent and in which manner. And so the district is really just essentially administering certain components. So if they were to decide to put together a loan program for homeowners, they would say who was awarded those. And they would make that application, make that policy. They wouldn't change the zoning requirements of what dictates a single family home requirements there is. As far as bonding, again, those processes for that infrastructure improvement.
I'm sorry, Caitlin. You know what, we need to have folks out in the hallway either quiet down or we gotta close doors, cause you can't hear it here. Hold on. You gotta be able to hear here.
Can you clarify what you just said, please?
So with bonding, one of the biggest components is you still have to go through the city commission for that process. This does not change the process. The process is the exact same for certain dollar amounts. It's just what the law is trying to clarify, and that's why we respond to each of those specific responses. The state statute says you need to address this policy generally. And so, I mean, we can't bond over an amount that we're collecting. And so that's what that guidance is intended to do. Not that we're going to bond. You could have the policy stance as the city commission that we're not gonna bond for the NA. We're gonna save up money as in a rainy day fund and then eventually be able to do X project because we need X water line extended so then we can support this new subdivision development or whatever the case is. Or we're gonna finish these blocks of disconnected sidewalks because that is really important for this group of community members. And so there still is the same level of control facets. This is really just allocating the process of what it currently is. One of the different points that was mentioned as far as the municipal service component that was added in there, as I mentioned, the list of projects is a potential list of projects that is totally within your jurisdiction. If you wanted to say that's not something we want to whatever pursue, that could be something you strike from the plan. If you want to potentially entertain in the future, I would recommend you keep it, because if it's not listed, then it cannot be allocated for those. That's why those goals are put in there, part of it coming from state statute, and the part of that, but ultimately you decide what programs you choose as a city commission with involvement with the NIA, and your nomination process of who serves on that. That is something that the mayor looks at the list of applicants, you provide a nomination, and then those are the members that serve.
Are there any other questions on there you want to answer?
So where we would, as far as the tax dollars, so we're collecting what the county would have collected, and that's what's going into the NIA, and that's where the funding source is. So we're getting additional revenue. The reason taxing jurisdictions like Lapeer County say we're okay with that is because you have the long-term win. you can afford locally or have gap funding for certain projects or investments, and so you're willing to relocate your funding, so then you can fund this, improvements, and then if later you'll be made whole because the NA ends. But as mentioned, NAAs or DDAs, they do go through an amendment process, so you can look to extend that. That's something that each commission, as they're reviewing that, when it comes to the time of expiry, you have a community discussion, do we still need this, or are we willing to, or do we want to dispense of it?
Anything else?
Otherwise, I don't know that I had questions to different things, so, there were some different comments and stuff, but some of those are just, comments or, I don't wanna embellish on, people's opinions on things, they have a right to their opinion.
Right, okay, all right. So, at this point, I would entertain a motion just to approve,
Not to approve.
I'm
To
sorry,
acknowledge.
sorry, thank you, to acknowledge the first reading, that's all, we need a motion to acknowledge the first reading today.
I move we acknowledge the first meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call. So it was Stu.
Davis,
Yes,
Stempien,
Yes.
DeLuca,
Yes.
Ramirez,
No.
Tanis,
yes.
Blount,
Yes.
Yaki.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so that is it in regard to this particular issue. We are looking for an update in regard to the old DAW building. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just to clarify for the public, as far as the next step, so this is first reading. Are we anticipating the second reading to take place on November 19th? That's when, or no, not
The 18th,
18th. That is
our next
when,
meeting.
yep, that's our next city commission meeting. Is that our intention that that's when the second reading would be, and that's when we would really deliberate on action based on the revisions that I otherwise mentioned tonight?
Yes.
Question. Second meeting, we vote on it, or do we, which is just the reading and then we vote?
The 18th would be the voting to create the NIA as well as adopting the development plan and TIF plan.
So the next meeting could be the final meeting, one way or another.
Correct.
No. I would rather be able to hear the second reading and have it in plenty of time to read and have our questions answered.
Okay, so.
I support you on that.
Thank you.
On that,
Needs to go to vote to the
you
people.
want, I won't vote on that on the 18th.
Okay,
I'd
so,
like to
I mean,
investigate that further.
so the next, then what we can do is we can just say that the 18th would just be the second reading.
That's fine. Yeah, no vote on the 18th, I'd rather know it and explore it.
Is there any other additional information I can help provide? Or is there, I guess, surveys or something that can help, I guess, provide people with information so they can make that decision?
I don't know if it's possible, I would love if we could get some information from some of the other jurisdictions, cities, townships that have adopted NIAs to maybe like even 5, 10 years, past, just to get a whole kind of spectrum, okay, when they first do it, kind of what does it look like as time goes on? Is this helping, is this hurting? What's the city's temperature on what it's doing? Just to kind of, I guess, get a little more feel either way, I mean, it is a lot of responsibility.
My question would be in, like, let's say Lapeer County, Sanilac County, let's see, St. Clair County, maybe just those within our area, what's the one I'm missing, Sanilac, just find out who
Genesee.
has that. What'd you say?
Genesee and Oakland.
Oakland?
Genesee or Oakland County, so
Yeah,
different.
probably Genesee more than Oakland, that's getting pretty big down in that area.
So looking at a case study to see, they do require as part of state statute to do an annual report of, I guess, fiscal.
Yeah.
This entity would be required to do that as well. And then you're looking at kind of an idea of what projects they have.
When you look at that, look for problems. Not look for what's good, look for problems.
I wouldn't necessarily say look for problems, I'd like to see the positivity of what
Yeah,
took
but I
place in
wanna
the
see
community.
problems too, I wanna
I
see
think
both
if you
sides.
dig in the garbage dumps of anybody's backyard, you're gonna find something. I think as Marshall said here, it's high time that everybody in this community starts looking for something positive instead of just the negative.
Yeah,
Because this is a really good city. I've lived here for almost 30 years, and I do pay a ton of taxes. But I just like to look into, get to know, and Amy, so I thought she was here, yeah. Find out, talk to the communities, hey, how's it going for you? What are some of the problems you face? But what have you been able to do in a positive way to help your community? Because I'm telling you what, all we ever hear here, we have to have rooftops. And it's impossible right now to develop a subdivision. A developer can't do it because they can't make any money. And if we do not get more rooftops in here, you're never gonna get on all these. You're never gonna get, I've been doing commercial real estate, this is my 29th year in real estate. You can't get all these top-end restaurants people tell me they want here in Imlay City, because we don't have any rooftops. So if we can't help a farmer put infrastructure in the ground and drive down the cost of development costs, it ain't gonna happen. So I wanna find out from these communities, how are we helping the community grow, not complaining about something that's never gonna be right. I think we could do a great job here together.
Okay, are you good?
one other thing, you should know that I'm a homeowner, and all us homeowners are not paying enough tax to cover our support for the city. Our money comes from the businesses and from the factories in town. Not saying we need more businesses or more factories in town, but we need money because we're not covering our own expenses. And if you look at what they did at the trailer court, we get about $7 a piece for every one of those trailers a year to work with. So we need more money to fix up our town. 4th Street, we need, what is it, $1 million more?
Okay, that's okay.
And South Elmont has not been fixed in the 40 years I've been fixed here, because the plumbing underneath there is not right, and we don't have the money to dig it down and do a good job. So they're not fixing it.
Stu, why don't we, I think Caitlin has the information she needs to be able to come
Thanks,
back.
Caitlin. Thank you.
And we have the opportunity
I think
to
we
speak
also have a right
during,
to talk.
we also
have a right to talk.
Okay, so we have a lot of other things to get through in the meeting. At this point, we then move on to unfinished business, city-owned properties, so, Bob, if you wanna go and tell us what's going on. This one.
Bob Dennis, I am the builder for the DPW building in Imlay City. Like I said last week, our last meeting, I told you we built the bathrooms and the mechanical room inside, it's all been insulated. We got the go-ahead to put the underground in for the electric, from the pole out front to the southwest corner of the building. That's where the mechanical room is gonna be. They gave us the go-ahead. We've been working with the DPW really well. They trenched it today. I called Scott Houston, which is the electrician. He's going to bring the pipe 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, he's gonna put it in the ground, and that's gonna come in and bury the pipe. Then it's up to DGA to pull the wires. So things are moving forward. We're gonna work real hard to get the ceiling in that building before the 13th of December. So that's where we're at this point. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
Hey,
So we're working on it, so.
When do you anticipate it all being completed? Everything being done?
That's a good question. We haven't got to that point yet. We're just working little by little on this thing. We really want the Chris Kringle market in that building this year, so we're working on it. Very good.
Thanks, Bob.
Anything else, Rob?
Thanks, Mike.
Yes.
Can you say that again? What did you just say? We didn't hear.
Oh. We don't have a tentative date when it's gonna be all the way done. Okay, so what we're working on is trying to get a ceiling in that building before the 13th, so the Chris Kringle market can be in there for the holiday weekend, so that's what we're working on, so. Okay, any other questions? Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks. All right, unfinished business, NB. Frank.
Hi, everyone. Frank Dembski, chairperson for our Parks and Rec Commission. As many of you know, we currently have a project in Lions Park. A little bit of background for the community. Back at our Winterfest of last year, we put 3 different ideas up for the community's input, because it's your park, and so we wanted to see, of these 3 ideas, and they were different, what really gathered the community's imagination. And so we took that and we kind of ran with that. We applied for and we were granted from the Council of Michigan Foundation's DNR Spark Opportunity Grant, which we got, hang on a minute. We were awarded May 22nd of this year. We asked for basically $1 million in improvement. At that point, they awarded us $790,800, but that was before prices started skyrocketing on costs. And so we went back to the council, and on August 6th, we were awarded another $20,000, bringing our total to $810,800. Because of what the project was initially and what we were awarded, of course, there had to be cuts made to it. One of the things that was cut, and it's in your packet, is there is a walkway on the west side of the park that is currently crushed limestone. The Parks Board felt we wanted to see if there was some way we could get that paved, because it would get more use, from the community. The things that we were told was, the other thing is what I handed out was, this is the playscape and the color scheme that the board went with. And our thought was, we wanted something really bright, so that as people are passing on Black's Corner, it's gonna pop. But this was basically what the public voted for when we asked them back at our Winterfest last year. So I am coming to you today because there is a chance that when all of these grants are done, that there may be some extra money. But it's not a guarantee. And so I'm coming to you today to ask for, if that money doesn't come through, for the commission to grant us an extra $79,000 to go and pave this path, so that then we can have just about everything we wanted for that park, and it's that much more usable for the public. Any questions?
Will this be ADA accessible?
Thank you.
Yes. And that is, part of what this total project is, the Playscape 2 will be, accessible to all people.
If it's not paved, is it ADA accessible?
Not really, Tom, because in the spring and in the fall, when we start getting our water, right now, we have low spots in that area. And so, I think you would be hard pressed to, be able to push a wheelchair.
Frank, when would you expect this to start?
We are looking to break ground pretty soon. I don't,
Not this way.
but, I'm sorry. We are gonna start in the spring, but we are lining up the cement first. And obviously, if we do want them to do that cement, they would do that first before doing all the parking area, because obviously once,
With everybody coming out.
right.
What are other options? What are any other options? That's $79,000 bucks.
It is. How many cubic feet is it? I'm afraid I don't have that. Seems like a lot of money. But you know what? Cement in this area has just killed us.
I just poured like 10,000 square feet in my house.
But, you know, part of it is because of where that park is, you know, the ground has to be prepared. So you're not just talking about the cement, but the foundation. I mean, which is why, right now, as it stands, I'm sure when they initially did that pathway, it was all above ground, but you've got a lot of marsh. And so now you've got, you know, water in the springtime that just makes it impassable at parts.
Frank, so I understand, is it 879,000 going into Lions Park? Is that pretty much the number then? 800,000 of them and
810,000, Dennis.
Okay, but 79,000 of taxpayers' money now is what you're asking for, am I correct?
Only if
Only if,
we don't get additional funding
Okay.
from the grant.
I get it.
This is kind of like, you know, before this Met guy is gonna
Yeah,
go
I get
do it, he wants to know he's gonna get paid. And at this point, we can't guarantee him that that money's gonna come from the grant people. So yes, it would, at that point there, if nothing came from the grant people, then it would come from the community to,
Okay.
you know, better one of our parks.
Sorry.
Quite a lot, because as we've made improvements, it's sort of like what we saw on the Pollyant Trail. As we've made improvements, more people use it because it becomes easier.
I've lived here 38 years and I've never seen these ballparks, after these parks used, I ain't never.
Well, I've seen the soccer park, the soccer used all the time, the basketball courts are in use. People are using the pavilion for their family doings. Less so this summer, because let's face it, it was hotter than Hades. So, you know.
Around town a lot. I see a lot of things, but.
An old school park is constantly being used since we made the improvements there. You know?
Does the commission have any other questions? Would anyone like to make a motion?
Before that, I do have a question though. When would you find out if we would get the grant for any remaining, or at least help towards that?
That I'm unclear on, because I don't know, because the way that this is it's been awarded to more than just our community. And I don't know their timetable. I know that we are ahead of everybody else with our development.
And the concrete guy wants an answer soon.
I'm sorry?
And the concrete guy wants an answer soon.
Well, he does, because then, you know, that's where he would start, and then he'd move east.
Frank, what else could you not put into that project so that you don't have to come to the city and ask for $79,000?
The problem, Al, has been, you know, with the parking, okay? We are spending a lot more money on, that area there, because we did some core samples, and essentially what that told us is yeah, we could pour the cement on what's there, but within a few years, it would be, you know, we would have issues. That's where we lost a lot of, ground in being able to do the other things. If we didn't, you know, we could put less playscape in there, but to me, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of why we're improving the park. You know, because this playscape is gonna be in the area that's totally unused at this point.
I guess my question would be, do we have $79,000 of the taxpayers' money in excess? If we don't,
And that assumes that you would be on, have to go for the whole thing.
but I have to assume that I'm gonna be on the.
Sure, and I would
So I'm
want
not
you
gonna
to.
assume that I wanna spend the taxpayers' money on an assumption.
you're gone.
And I don't even, do we have $79,000 extra to pay? If I got that in excess, I'd love to have our kids have something extra, if I don't have the excess. It's not already allocated, right?
Yeah, it's not budgeted,
Yeah,
it has to
it's-
come out from that.
I can't do that.
Which is, I mean, can we afford it? Let me ask it that way.
Well, like I said, we do have a fund balance, it could come out of the fund balance.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense.
That's why it's there.
Okay, so there is no motion, apparently?
Thank you for your time.
I do agree.
Sorry.
Okay, moving on, so new business, we've got two rezoning questions. 11A, Craig, do you want to read this or take one? I don't know who wants to read this.
Oh, neat, okay, alright, I can pull up the application if you'd like, or scroll down further in your packet for it. But this is a rezoning request, from a property owner that was proposing from R2 residential to OS office.
This is not a spot zone, this is moving,
So this is, the planning commission had their public hearing, sorry, I don't remember the exact date, earlier in October. They are recommending denial, on the proposed, rezoning request, because it was not consistent with
October
the.
28th.
Thank you, October 28th, because it was not consistent with the master plan, and then.
The planning commission minutes are in the
No,
packet.
master
You're being
plan.
asked to
To be in
approve
charge.
the denial or accept the denial of the planning.
all right, do you make the motion to accept the denial, or do you make the motion, how do you word the motion?
I make a motion to deny the rezoning
Okay,
request.
I make a motion to deny,
I support.
Okay, roll call.
Nope, if I can just fix your motion for a moment.
Yeah,
So it should also mention our approval standards and the specific standards that it did not meet. We need to make sure those are specifically listed, so that's
So
what
if
I'm
you
trying
look at
to.
the planning
Where's
commission
that?
on page 34, under
Yeah.
the motion that the planning
Yeah.
commission made, that would be
That's what
the
they're-
same motion that we would be looking for, we don't read this.
yeah.
Page 34, under the motion.
So yes means we deny it. Use it.
Okay, I make the motion that we deny the request of rezoning from the R2 single family to OS1 office space by Willow's Edge located at 270 North Ellen Avenue because the applicant does not meet the standard A or C
Okay,
of section
Support.
6.4.
alright. So that's the motion. Okay. We went back and forth here a couple times. So is it Luke's motion then?
To deny, you vote yes.
I want to make sure that we get the record clear. So it's Luke's motion to deny, correct?
I would say so.
Okay,
And then Rob supported that.
okay, and so now we can do, a roll.
Vivian,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
DeLuca,
Yes.
Ramirez,
Yes.
Candace,
Yes.
Yaki,
Yes,
thank you.
okay. And so the next on the agenda is the request, in regard to rezoning parcel, I-1985, 300-000, and that's on page 36.
And so this rezoning, as many of us will know, is the gas station, over on K-Pac Road, and Elmont Avenue. So they're currently zoned B1, which is local office, local business, which does not allow for gas stations.
And it is a gas station.
Yes.
That there is.
Yep, so, when we were doing the master plan update, I said, I think we want this to continue. It's been a gas station for a real long time. I mean, they're already restricted on how big they can get, and things of that nature. So what we did in our master plan is we made it so you could rezone it to remedy that. And so that's why the recommendation is to rezone it to B3, so that way they can operate a gas station there, and they become conforming. They're proposing a minor administrative revision to the building, but we don't want to process them as a non-conforming use, because then that way it's consistent with our master plan, and we don't see a reason that that can't continue as a gas station.
That agrees to vote yes to the cheapest gas.
So I would just make a motion where it says, whereas the city of Imlay City, correct? Right there?
No.
Right here, where I
Page
page
35.
35, the motion for the
Right here.
planning commission.
I'll beat them all to the punch. I'll make that motion to approve the requested rezoning from
Yeah.
B1 local business to B3 general business by Brent Ford, located at 110 K-Pac Road, because the applicant does meet all the standards in section 6.4.
I'll support.
Roll call, please.
Vivian,
Yes.
Lau,
Yes.
Candace,
Yes.
Ramirez,
Yes.
DeLuca,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Yaki.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, our second round of citizens from the floor, if anyone would like to speak.
Rob, any 2455 Beacon Road. Whether it's an apparent lack of or an actual lack of transparency, the misunderstanding that I've been listening to, and the concerns that I've been listening to with regard to the NIA, I would suggest that not only answer the questions, whether they be in writing, publicly, flood the community with the answers in specific but understandable language with possibly examples, so that it's easy to understand and they know what they are getting or giving up, or whatever the case may be. But that would be my suggestion.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mary Evans, 521 Metcalf. I'm a little confused about this county money. Are you able to keep that money because you're establishing the NIA? And then if so, what are we giving up by not giving the county money? That's all.
Denise Foster, US 4th Street, Imlay City. I'm also the administrative assistant at the police department, but I'm here as a citizen. I hear a lot of people every day coming into the department, whether they're citizens coming in to ask questions because they think they're at City Hall when they're not. I think the main thing is we just need, as he said, transparency, answer questions. They come here to ask questions and then they're told, oh, right now we're not answering questions. What's the point of a forum if you're not gonna answer the questions that they have? And I think that's where a lot of the people have distrust, and that's what I'm hearing. And you guys are a great commission, that's been said. It's nice to see new faces and changes. I'm not knocking that at all. You guys have done a great job given the state of it. But the DDA stuff that happened, the farmer's market closing early, different things happening throughout the community, businesses closing, businesses complaining about town online, business owners leaving, it's just a lot. And I think if you held a forum where people could come talk and ask questions and get answers at that time. You have Ian Kemp on Facebook saying, come to the fairgrounds and have coffee with me at 10 a.m. I'll answer any questions you want. we need that for you guys, if that makes sense. That's just my opinion. Thank you for your time.
Can I say something?
Absolutely. Not-
No, it's.
Anyone else?
Okay, Jamie Johnson, 465 Spruce Street, and I just wanted to say that it was a great point that Commissioner McClellan brought up about being able to push a wheelchair over the crushed limestone for the park, because there are areas where you can't push a wheelchair over the sidewalks in Imlay City, so I feel like that should be kind of a priority, and I just want to know, are we able to repair the sidewalks with the current position without the NIA? And why haven't we done so if we can? Is that, I guess that's a question. And then also, I know that this is not the first time that you guys have probably heard, we kind of need a stoplight around where the Kroger is.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, how many people made it?
We live in 45.
Anyone else?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
you know,
gonna-
something that was said here, that caught my interest, and talking about this, that wasn't out there. We're talking about roofs, we're talking about putting another, store, Aldi, you know, and so we're talking about, we don't have enough taxes coming in through homeowners to support what we have to pay out as a city, to keep the city running. And I guess what is kind of getting to me, is like, we're saying that we need to have this in order to have other, I guess, contractors or the builders and want to come in and build here, because it's gonna draw people in. So we're talking about that. This is the only thing that's going to expand our city in the sense of a public sense of creating a bigger city with more population. Is this what this is about? Because I never heard it put that way. I never heard that we didn't have money. It was never said. It sounds like you were just cramming extra layer of government down our throats that would control us eventually. And you would leave us, when you got it done with your terms, would leave us as a monster that we can't, if we decide as a public to get out, we don't want you no more, we're not able to. See, this is why we want to vote for these people that's going to be part of this. We want to vote them in. We don't want you guys to make that decision. You know, your vote, yay, yay, nay, nay. We want it to go to the public. Let the public decide. There's a public, I mean, don't get me wrong. Growth is good. I know some people like living in a small town. I guess some people want an Aldi because it's cheaper and it competes against Kroger. And Kroger can drop their prices and be more affordable for people. We understand that. But this is the first time I ever heard it come here put that way. That we need it for other people who want to live here in Inland City and want to be part of our community. So until then, I would like for a no. I don't want extra government. I still don't want extra government. And the other thing is too, is that this money that we're going to stop going to the county and so forth, without this, are we still able to stop it going to the county? Are we able, or we're not? Because in other words, you were saying that, okay, if we don't create this, then we're not able to create more revenue by, in other words, if we want to stop sending money, we got to create this beast. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna, we're gonna create this beast because it's a beast system. We're gonna create this beast that we don't know what it's going to do to us as citizens of Imlay. So we're kind of, sell yourself to the devil if you want the rewards. That's what it kind of sounds like to me. But do the community want growth? This is why I said, give it to explain it the way you guys explain it. We have no money. We're trying to create more business come in because they are the one that actually put in money into our community to build all these things we want. So that's what we're trying to do, but we have to sell our souls to the devil, to this thing in order to get this money. But put it to the vote to the people. I'm asking you guys, please, don't leave it up to you guys to decide this. You shouldn't vote for it. That right there, you shouldn't put it to you guys. You should put it to the people. Honestly, you were elected by the people for the people. You know, we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. We said that right before we came in. And that's what we are, the Constitution. We have our Fourth Amendment, our Fifth Amendment rights. Is this going to violate that? You know, the city's gonna have to get some lawyer that loves fighting with the city. We know who that is. And just to get back our rights. You know, and that's what we don't want. We don't want people coming in and violating our rights. And that's why we're all here. That's why I said, don't leave it up to your guys, yay, nay, nay, nay. You wanna hear another reason? I think that's awesome that you spoke up again. It didn't sound like you were against it, but you wanted more. But that's why we're here. We're not here because we're angry, mad at you, we want you out. No, we're here because we want our civil rights. We want our life. We want the life of justice, of liberty. Okay, we want the right to be able to vote, to have our voice. We don't want somebody coming in. We don't want to sell ourselves to the devil, our community to the devil. But you never said it that way. You never said we didn't have money. We need more people living here. You never put it that way. I never heard it once. Now, so my plea to you guys, and whether I'm speaking for them or not, and I kind of think I am, is put it to us to vote on this, whether we want it or not. But you gotta put it, why? You gotta put out, we don't have money to pay for all our infrastructure. We need people moving in. You want an Aldi. I really want an Aldi. I can fly. I'm not that big on an Aldi. I'm okay with Kroger. But I'm gonna stop there because I think I made a point. I think I made a point to them, but I'm asking one last time. This is what I want to leave with. Is leave it up to the people to vote for it, the community to vote for it, not you guys. That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's the beast. Is how we look at it. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Leave it with that.
Anyone else?
This weekend, 175 Hancock Street. I just have a couple things that I'd like to see in 2 weeks regarding, the NIA, including like an itemized list of the money that's going to be going towards the county, what's that being used for, that would normally be used for. And you mentioned like the villages, some of them would not be affected. The villages that we've already voted on that are set to increment over the course of so many years that we voted on every, election that we have one, are those going to be affected, and is that money going to be taken away from that to be used for that? No, it's not. Okay. And then I also wanted to add a comment about the stoplight in Redwood City, because that's something that we've been talking about for a long time. I know when they put that stoplight outside of Walmart and up here, it stopped accidents there exponentially. It's a long corridor, and people speed there a lot, and having a light there would make a big difference in car crashes and that would happen in LA City. So, thank you.
Please see me afterwards. Okay, I'll tell you about that.
Anyone else? Okay. City manager report. Okay. Commissioner time. Al?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and talking about your concerns. And I think you made it very clear that we don't need more government. I agree with that. I could not, with hearing everybody here tonight, I could not vote on adopting this NIA. So thank you for coming, and thank you for making your voices heard.
I also want to thank everybody else for coming out tonight. Really appreciate hearing everybody's opinions, everybody's voice on it. I would agree with most of you guys that, hey, that a lot of this perhaps hasn't come out the best way. A lot of this has been really actually out there since about March, April, when we started looking at adopting master plan and everything, and maybe perhaps it could have been more transparent, more out there, more available. Hey, look, people, this is something that might be coming down the highway here. I understand you got a lot of everyone's concerns regarding any of the taxes. from our readings, from understandings, you know, I can be a technical person like Caitlin can be, you know, I can read these things with the dense language, and some of it makes sense to me, some of it doesn't make sense to me with it. But I think the ballpark idea of all of this is our taxes don't increase. We're not changing anything. We're not adding on a new tax, any property taxes or any extra. Just as time goes by, as normal increases in property taxes occur, just from other, you know, county level, assessing levels, that money, that extra little portion of it, that little wedge, gets funneled back to the city to be able to use for our projects, for our infrastructure, for making sure that we have good sidewalks, for making sure that, you know, the roads aren't crumbling apart, making sure that Ed doesn't always have, Ed Prees, our superintendent of the DPW, doesn't have to keep looking for different sorts of grants and government programs to be able to fund things. I think the overall goal of this is good. I would agree with the gentleman who was just up here saying, yes, I don't want a lot of big government. I'm not for that, but with this little step for more government, we get to retain more for our city. So that's where my comments come in with that. So thank you all for your time.
Yeah, I started out against it, and as I dug into it, it became more obvious that it's a positive for us. But in the process, I saw a lot of stuff online, and it bothered me I couldn't answer, because I'm on the city commission. Today, I went in to see the city manager, and we talked. And one of the things that came up is maybe we should have once a month a get-together. And I went down to the fairgrounds, and he's willing to give us one morning a month. He said he'll make the coffee. We'll have a city commissioner, and he happens to be a county commissioner, and anybody else, and you get to talk to us and get maybe our side or what we did wrong and explain it better. I don't think we did anything bad, except we really screwed this up the way we presented it. And I think it's our fault that you're having this problem. And I think when we have one-to-one, and I'm gonna try and put something together one-to-one, and right now we're looking at, I haven't told you yet, because I just told Ian about 20 minutes before the meeting. On a Wednesday, he'd like the second Wednesday of the month at about 10 o'clock.
Could we do it, Dave? It's not.
This is not set, but if you guys agree to it now, it's set. That's all.
Later, people work.
What does Ian Kemp have to do with all this? Why does he keep coming in?
It's commissioner time right now, thank you, thank you.
Why? Because I went to Ian Kemp. I don't know why, you know, people don't like me, people don't like him. I'm not a good old boy, because I've never been good, and I'm too old to be a boy.
You're doing great.
You're doing great.
So, you know, we're just trying to keep the city going. We don't make money on this job, I guarantee you. It's not a high profit job. But we give our time, and most of us here, I think all of us here, love the city, and that's why we're doing it. So, you know, come at us on one-to-one. If anybody wants to speak to you one-to-one, I'll be glad to give you my phone number, my email address when the meeting's over. So I'll be glad to give, I have cards in my pocket. I take pictures, I have picture cards. So,
Okay. So, Tom?
Oh, you going all the way down here now?
I am.
Hey, I seriously do want to thank everybody for coming today, and I'm really glad you're not mad at me, because in 3 years, I'll be glad to be off this position. And I will be busy on the second Wednesday of every month. But seriously, I really think that I'm looking forward to digging into this a little deeper, just getting some more questions answered, get some clarity. If you don't explain it at the level I'm at, I can't do it, so. Put the cookies on the shelf where everybody can reach it. Let's just look for the positive. But just do yourself a favor. This is what I found. I like what they said. Once you start reading it, read it. You can get a copy of it. Okay? Get a copy of it. Read it. Don't just go online and post. If it's on the internet, it's true, I guess is what it says, right? It's not. So seriously, do yourself a favor and the community a favor. Let's dig into this deep, hard together. We're a great community. I've been here way less than some of you people have been. I've enjoyed it for 29 years and I'm looking forward to just living here and learn a little more. But looking forward to all the places we can talk to some of the people that are running some of the communities and see what they got. I'll work with you. You're right, we don't get paid enough for this. I can't even take my wife out to dinner for one night being here, so it's a tough job, but thank you for being here. I seriously mean that, thank you.
Thank you for your voices tonight. Again, thank you for coming.
Like I already said, thank you for coming, appreciate it. A lot of information came out, definitely. If you wanna know what the second reading is, it's on the 18th, is when we have a second reading. Kate does a fantastic job, she'll have more information than you can believe, what you think you're gonna hear, because she'll have it all for us. I know she does a great job. So, does a good job, so if you really wanna know more, make sure you come. I'd love to see you too, so it makes us feel good that the community wants to get involved. A lot of times we sit in here and we may have 2 people, that's all we have. So if you have more people here, we can go to the new building when it gets done, we have to hold a meeting over there. But seriously, the more comes, the makes our job easier, so thank you, appreciate it.
I would certainly, just echo those comments, just say, this is great. I've said that a number of times when we have a number of people here, to be able to see everybody, to be able to have you all come and express your opinions, because we want to hear them. And so, really do appreciate your coming. I want to clear up a couple things. So this actually isn't new. We've had since, and this is comment was made a couple of times, is that this was in the master plan, starting in February of this year. And we publicized the master plan, we had public hearings, we had a lot of information that was out there, and frankly, we didn't have anybody who was real interested in the master plan. But it's been out there for a long time. So this just came to the forefront now because of the fact that we needed to have a public hearing on it. And so that's why everybody got the notices that the city sent out with the utility bills. And so that's why everybody knew now. But please do look into it. Please ask questions. All of us are real easy to find. And the city staff is more than willing to answer questions. And so, as opposed to, I'm just gonna say it, as Tom said, going online, and there's a lot of misinformation online. And so, if you go and you research it yourself, and you ask the questions of these people that we all got elected by you, and if you ask the questions of the city, absolutely have your opinion, because everybody's got an opinion. But it's just for you to be able to actually really do the look at it, the deep look at it, to make sure you understand it. And so then you have the opportunity to make an informed decision. That's really all that's going on with that. One of the things I'll say about this, I'm gonna explain it. Stu explained it one way, I'm gonna explain it another way. So if you have, whatever your rate is right now, whatever your, the value of your house is right now, for example, and whatever that tax rate is. So I'm just gonna make up a number and say it's $2,000. That's what the taxes are right now. And so the taxes go to the county, they go to the city, they go to the veterans, they go to the schools, they go to the library, EMS. And so as your value of your residence increases, just because all of our, most everybody's value of their residence increases over time. So you have that base value that we started with here in 2025. And if your residence increased by, let's say, $20,000, then it is the tax on that $20,000 that is the county part. That's the part that we would actually be capturing here. So no, it's not any new taxes, not at all. It is based upon simply the fact that the increase in the value of your house has caused your taxes to go up a bit, and that's what we're gonna capture and keep here. That's what the proposal is. So, I'm gonna use 4th Street as an example. Everybody knows how bad 4th Street is. When I was running for election 2 years ago, I heard about that a lot. And the thing is, the city has applied now for grants to be able to completely redo 4th Street in the way it needs to be done, with all the infrastructure that goes with it. The cost of that 2 years ago was $11.4 million. The cost now, I'm gonna guess, is probably $12 million. And so the city doesn't have $12 million. So it is for things like that that we need to be able to get this increased NIA money. That, yes, we're doing well in the city, we do lots of projects. I will address the sidewalks in just a second. But anyway, there are some things that we do not have the funds for. I'm gonna go way back in time and say there used to be a lot more revenue sharing from the state of Michigan. Cities used to get a lot more money from the state. That doesn't happen nearly as much anymore now as it used to. So that's why we do all these grants. That's why we have to look for other ways to be able to fund things. This is an opportunity to basically capture just that additional amount that would have gone to the county, that the county did not object to us keeping it, to be able to do the things we have to do in town. That's exactly, and that's exactly what this is for. So I will say this about sidewalks. We do sidewalks every year. We have a sidewalk program, and I can't remember exactly how many, Ed told us the last time he was here about how many sidewalks get done every year. And so it's a replacement cost, and so yes, we do sidewalks every year. It may not get done as quickly as you want, it may not get done right in front of your house when you want it to, but they do get done every year. One more thing, the stoplight at Kroger, unfortunately, that's not us. That's MDOT. And for anybody who's heard about this city, oh my goodness, our local state rep, we've had a number of meetings in this room trying to get MDOT to give us a stoplight. But it's not our call, it's a state road. MDOT has decided that they're gonna do something different, and so that's gonna be in 2029.
Yeah, how many more people are gonna die?
And so, but you know what? We, the city and the people here, and like I said, Jamie Green, our state rep, I cannot tell you how many meetings there have been where the city has attempted to do that, but it's not our jurisdiction. So we can't do anything with it.
Can you tell us who we contact for that?
Okay.
Contact me afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. The other question that you asked about having the city decide, this whole NIA is based upon state statute. We have to follow the state statute. It isn't us, it isn't our decision as to how this happens, we have to follow the state statute. So all of these things we've done all along with the master plan, the public hearings, all the other things, we have a time frame, and we have the requirements from the state as to how we do that. So actually, we can't do this with having the city vote, because the fact that that's not what the statute says. Just like the DDA captures funds, there's a DDA board. I happen to also be on the DDA board. And so the DDA gets those captured funds, and then the DDA decides how to spend those funds. This NIA and the DDA board is appointed, okay? This NIA board, because of state statute, would also be appointed. But they would make recommendations to the city commission as to how to spend these funds. That's how that would work. All right, one other thing that was stated, those special millages we talked about, things like the veterans, the library, the schools, EMS, we're not gonna capture any of the funds from those. We have specifically stated, we're not doing that. That was, from the very beginning, we said, we are not taking any of those funds. That was right in what we did, right in all of our paperwork. So no, we're not taking any of those funds. Oh, okay. What Stu just asked about was about the gas company. The thing is that, once again, whenever we have this whole set of paperwork that we had to do for the state of Michigan, and then we had to do for the county, anything that we might possibly think of in the future had to be in here. It doesn't mean we're gonna do it, it means that if we ever think we might want to, we might be a good idea, we might think the gas issue, just to be able to negotiate with DTE, we have to put it in here. But that's what these future boards and future decisions are gonna be about, because there's all kinds of stuff in here that probably will not happen, but we had to put it in here if we're gonna possibly do it. So that's why it's in here. It doesn't mean that that's contemplated now. So, anyway, I've talked a lot, my voice is hoarse. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we need a motion to adjourn?
No motion.
Okay. We have a second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I gotta get,